So we're recording.
We are recording.
Awesome.
I still don't have like a good sign on anymore. I'm kind of over that.
We should steal the do 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 do. Pow.
No, we're not putting Sesame Street. Okay,
Oh my goodness.
how about we'll just say something like, "Hey everybody, thanks for being here. This is another episode of the Intentional Academy live podcast. We call it the live podcast because we actually live stream it. Right now, you can watch on uh, what is this thing? Instagram through my profile, which is at the Tony Farrar. But you can also watch us on Twitch. We got links places for that, so you have to find us. But it's twitch.tv/intentional academy. So come hang out with us there as well. And we answer questions live when they come in, but we also have a lot of ways that people can send them to us ahead of time. And so tonight we've got some of those, and we're going to record these. We'll probably drop them out as a couple different episodes. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, I like that we decided to split it up so you can kind of pick and choose which question you want to listen to.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot. Go ahead, Justin.
No, I just said yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
yeah I like that. If I was listening to one,
Right.
that's how I'd want to do it. So
a little more digestible, smaller chunks,
Yeah.
that whole thing. Okay, so the first thing I want to do before we get to the questions is let's record a little bit here just about career fair because it's happening this week and the next couple. Yeah, see ya. Somebody from Instagram is running off to Twitch right now. That's cool. So Justin, you're gonna have to moderate that feed because I can't.
I've got a dashboard up right now. I'm looking right at the entire feed.
Neat.
Yep.
Okay, so career fair this week, next week, most schools across the country, people are hoping for internships, full time jobs. It might feel wild to you because it's October, but a lot of the jobs that people are going to start next summer are being applied to and filled right now. And that's partly because the process takes so long, right? By the time you go to interviews and they down select and you go to second interviews and site visits and
holidays, breaks, things like that.
exactly. So
Security clearances.
whew, yeah, that can take a while. So we've got a couple of tips we want to share with you. There's a lot more of our content out there right now that you want to check out for sure. We'll make sure to drop some links places. But anyways, Justin, why don't you go first? Because I thought you had a really cool idea based on something you experienced.
Do you want me to give the story, and then what I did, or do you want me to just do what I did?
Yeah, the whole thing. Whatever you want to talk about, man.
So I
This is your moment. Shine.
one of the things that has come out as we've talked is that I've been very meticulous in my planning. I knew what I wanted to do in middle school. I pursued it through college, and then I got the degree I wanted, and I got the job that I wanted. I knew I wanted to work for Navair. I knew I wanted to work jet engines. That's how I had focused my undergraduate research and things, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew the businesses that were coming. I knew that I wanted to start as a government employee because of the benefits. I knew I wanted to do that because of the job security. The market when we entered in 2008 now was not a good one. It still maybe not be the best, but it definitely was not good.
Yeah.
So I pointed myself in the direction of might not get paid quite as much, but job security. That
Mm.
being said, I tailored my resume to exactly what the knowledge that I wanted to say that I have gained, my experiences that I've gained, and I was headed to the Navair booth at the October Career Fair at Virginia Tech, the big one. That's the big one at Virginia Tech. And when I got there, I didn't go straight to the booth. I did some sleuthing, some detective work, and I wanted to kind of get an idea of who was there. Who am I pitching myself to? A lot of companies send recent graduates of the school because they want to get back to the school and have like a party time, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically turning your resume over, and they then take them, forget who they talked to, and hand a stack of resumes to a supervisor, a person in charge of hiring.
Mm.
So I sat back and I kind of looked, and I wanted to see who was there. And I saw three or four recent graduates. I actually knew one person. And then I saw an older guy. So I straight up profiled. I said, That older guy more than likely is here to make sure that the younger people stay focused and on topic.
Hmm.
So I bypassed them, went right to the older guy, shook his hand, introduced myself, handed him my resume, and told him why I was good for their position. I knew exactly what they were. They were there for jet engines. I talked with him. He remembered me. Interview the next day.
Was this for post graduating, not an internship or
This
anything?
was full time employment after graduation. So this was my senior year, but fall semester. So I still had another semester.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the interview. He was in the interview along with one of the recent graduates. I talked
Ah,
with them both. He was the hiring agent. He had remembered me. We had talked. We discussed my qualifications, what I brought to the table, not just academically, but professionally, socially, the way you carry yourself in a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
body language, all that kind of stuff. And he straight up told me I'm allowed to offer one job. And I knew that there was people standing in line. And I'm
wow.
allowed to offer one job, and I'd like to offer you the job. And I was like,
No kidding.
sweet. So,
Awesome.
That's incredible, man.
so I know
Um,
I'm just today profiling can seem be taken in negative connotations in many different facets, but in this case,
I would call that
it's not.
deductive
It's
reasoning.
exactly. So
I mean,
it
based on
was. Yeah,
alone, the sheer opportunity of years' experience is just translated better with someone who is older than with someone who's clearly just
right.
graduated.
Especially if the other alternative was somebody you already knew, you don't really need to walk up and network with that person in the
hmm
same way. Somebody closer to
Yeah.
your age or whatever. Um,
Mm.
hey, Justin, just out of curiosity, there was at least a line at Career Fair. I'm assuming more than one person got interviewed. Is that probably a fair guess?
absolutely. And they interviewed people after me.
Interviewed people after you, before you, maybe even. And so here's this whole stack of people. What do you think did it that you were the one?
I knew exactly. They when I went in there, I exuded confidence. I said, "Hi, I am," and you've preached this. It's not my name is. It's I am Justin Thomas, and I believe I am the perfect candidate for your job. And I
Hmm.
literally talked to him specifically about. I knew they were there for jet engines and jet engine sustainability. I've talked about the research we did. I talk about some of the knowledge that we gained doing research. I talked about some of the lessons learned. I talked about some of the reporting methods, some of the statistical methods. I talked about that,
Right.
but I didn't talk condescendingly. Sometimes when you talk with knowledge, it can come out
Mm.
like you like know it all.
Yeah.
So you got to go in with confidence. With the same instance, you got to go in calm and have a conversation.
Hmm.
I told him who I was. I told him why I was good for the job, and then we had a conversation.
I think that the number one thing that happens to a lot of people, and we talk about this in a lot of other situations as well, is that people don't believe in themselves enough, you know?
Hmm.
They think, I don't have enough experience and, I might not be what they're looking for, and they seem to be intimidated. So I think what you're saying, Justin, is really important, is to truly believe in yourself and exude that confidence and knowing that you are good enough for that position and you're the right fit. And that's what you want anyway. You don't just want to get any job. You want to pick the one that is going to be a right fit for you.
Right. And even a step further than that, a right fit for them. They're
Yeah.
looking for a certain type of person.
Hmm.
And when you walked up, you weren't putting up a front when you were telling them that you felt you were the best for the job because you were telling them who you really are.
Hmm.
I think it's so important to just actually, when you go to these things, there's this pressure to kind of sell yourself.
Hmm.
And I think there's a difference between letting them see the real you and decide whether that's what they want
Hmm.
and putting on a mask, which, by the way, if you were to get that job, you'd have to wear every day for the rest of your career. I mean, come on. I get it.
Yeah.
Right? Justin, I'm kind of obsessed with something right now, and that is busting up conventional wisdom.
Mm.
Now, I know that you did undergrad research, and so you had some experience there. I know you had a couple of internships that gave you some experience and things like that. But most people glaze over all of that and worry about a single number.
Mm.
You mind sharing yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what I put on the paper, or do you want to know what it was? I'm dead serious. I won't lie to your face. I put 3.0 on my paper. I had a 29967, and you bet that I rounded that up to a 3.0.
I'd call that I'd call that a 3.
I think
Two
that's
nine nine six seven. I was floored.
Backtracking, do you think it's fair to assume that there were people that didn't get this job that had higher GPAs than you?
I know people that got the job that had lower GPAs than me.
Huh.
So one of the things that the federal government did is basically there's a engineer development program that they had, and it was how far ahead of the track you were on based on your GPA.
Hmm.
If you had above a 2.95, you got on the 2.5 year track, and then if you had above a 2.5 but below a 2.95, you were on the 3.5 year track, and they just started you at a little less, but you still
Okay.
would end up at the same spot.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I think a lot of people that don't know any better are going into these things and really uh, selling themselves short, and they're having low confidence, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
because they think that their number isn't good enough.
Sure.
And that's not true. The fit is so much more important.
Hmm.
I think people are so stressed about getting a job that they're not thinking about finding the right fit either. They're just thinking about getting something.
Hmm.
And I think it's really important. It's just my tidbit that you go to these as early and as often as possible in your education, not
Hmm.
just your senior year, because that'll help you discover what you want if, unlike Justin, you're not really sure because you don't know where you want to work. That makes it a lot harder to walk up to a company and be like, I'm the perfect fit for you. I
Right.
have no idea what it is you do. You know?
Honestly, if you're at your senior year and you're still having that's you need to step back because
That was me because I did public relations and I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know where I wanted to do it. So that was really hard because I went to a career fair and it wasn't as successful for me at the time, and I'm sure I could have done things differently, but I pretty much went there for information gathering, not so much to sell myself because I was trying to learn, okay, if I was going to do public relations for this nonprofit, what do they stand for and what do they do?
True.
And that's kind of difficult unless you know everyone that's going to be there and you do a ton of research and which I didn't
Yeah.
do.
So we had a luxury as an engineering student. We had a engineering only career fair.
Mhm.
So that is a luxury that doesn't exist at most places. So
Yeah.
Although to be fair, that
So-
there's so much breadth there that it can still be hard. Hey, neat little comment there. I saw this coming in from
Yeah.
Instagram right now. Says I think one thing that people, when they're looking for post grad jobs don't realize is that you don't actually have to meet 100% of the job requirements to
Mhm.
consider applying. In fact, this person says that the average person meets something closer to 60 to 80%.
That makes sense.
And I think maybe this is another area of confidence where
Mhm.
people kind of read the bullet points in the job
Yep.
description and then just assume they're not.
Assume.
And
Yep.
you might be missing some low hanging fruit there if everybody assumes they can't do it because of a couple of things in there.
Sure.
I might
miss
kick
out.
myself for bringing this up, but did you share a TED Talk, Tony, where there was a female CEO that was talking about the differences in males versus females and how they approach jobs and job interviews and how many qualifications they had? There was a study that was done, and they were saying that males were more apt to apply for positions where they did not meet 100% of the criteria, where females were more apt to apply to positions only because they met 100% of the qualifications. It was interesting, and I wish I could find that TED Talk because she was very good speaker.
That's really interesting to me because I'm not going to support one way or the other, but I feel as a woman, I'm more of a rule follower, and so I would feel that way also.
Interesting.
Like I look at it and I go, okay, these are the qualifications. I don't meet them, so clearly that's not what they're looking for. Like that would be my initial thought. Not that I wouldn't apply there, but I can see how that would be more of a deterrent. because I'm very like by the book with, you know,
Hmm.
here's a list of things.
Wow.
I don't know. It's interesting. That's how I think
Yeah.
initially. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely more, and I'm a pretty confident person. But
I wonder if
I don't know.
yeah, I've been learning a lot about some of these subtle professional differences lately. Like,
Mhm.
there's an overwhelming amount of statistics showing that in meetings, men interrupt women a lot more than women interrupt men,
Mhm.
and there's some equity issues in here that imagine if you're working on group projects for 4 years of college,
Yep.
being spoken over, that might actually start to influence the way that you approach your job. Man, there's a lot of depth
Totally
there.
separate.
Yeah, I'm not even
Separate
close to ready to go
conversation.
into that right now, but it's incredible.
Yeah. So, Tony, what do you think
Well,
for
let me
career?
just springboard off of what Justin said and add one little thing, and I think that'll be enough.
Sure.
Honestly, all of this comes back to the fact that career fair is an opportunity to talk to people. We live in an over electronic world where
That's a good point.
everything you do seems to be these anonymous online applications. Fill out the form, upload your resume, and then line by line retype it for us in our text boxes
Oh.
so that the
I don't need
computer
that
can
memory.
filter you out by the keywords that it thinks are. And I'm not against automation, and I'm not even against optimization algorithms. The problem is that I don't think we've figured out how to write them.
Mm.
I think that we've messed that this is not a proven technology yet. Imagine one that actually connects the best people for the best jobs, and it's more like a multi-dimensional optimization
It's a
problem where we
dating
find everybody
website.
in the right place. What's that?
It's a dating website.
Yes, a little bit more swiping and all. But see, the swipe part is because the algorithm doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, see, I didn't. So I'll be straight up. I met my wife on a dating website, and I
Sure.
didn't swipe. I didn't look at pictures. I filled
Mm,
out a survey, and it's a massive survey with hundreds of questions. And then after that, it matches you with people that answered similarly to you. So that's not necessarily the best case scenario for a job interview.
No,
And
because that's
but
like things in common type, type stuff. The thing that's hard is currently these types of algorithms that weed out GPA and this and that does not really hold bearing for if you're the right fit. You could have a lower GPA but be the right person for the job.
mhm.
right. It kind of,
And
Justin,
that's really difficult.
I wonder, fast forwarding 10 years, things have changed a bit, bro. I wonder if you'd be in your job right now,
I don't know.
and that's kind of a weird thing because there's somebody out there that is like you, and what they need to know right now is that the handshake at the career fair was the thing that did it, you know? And so I just want to say, focus on making that connection. Justin, you alluded to the introduction, so I'm going to hit that again. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. When you introduce yourself, I've got like a 3-part formula that just seems to work really well. It starts with I am from, my specialty is, and each one of those obviously has a blank after it. And the reason for these things is that you want to provide enough detail that makes it super low friction for the person you're talking to ask a follow-up question. So you always want to zoom out one level of detail compared to where you really think you should be so that they have to ask. So for example, if you're at the career fair and it's a specific to, okay, let's say it's an engineering career fair, you would want to say you're from the College of Engineering, but let them ask you what your major is. Just that little thing breaks the ice and gives them an opportunity to easily find out something about you. And so starts with I am, because in most cultures, when we introduce ourselves, we usually say, my name is, I am called, me llamo, pick a language. It's some version of that. It's always somebody taking identity and dropping it on you. And when I say the words I am, the thing that's going on in my head that I'm not saying out loud is, and I'll show you what the flip that means.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's just this little confidence boost where it's just for me. People probably won't even notice, but it makes me instantly square my shoulders, stand up straight, and look somebody in the eye. And so I am Tony Farrar from the Intentional Academy. Student success is my specialty. It's nice to meet you. Something along those lines. gives you the opportunity to give them multiple places to ask a question and let them know something that you feel strongly about yourself in. So that's kind of step one at the career fair, is giving them an opportunity to talk to you. And then honestly, listening. The people that come to these career fairs are human beings who want to be there for one reason or another. There's no law saying people have to go to career fair and recruit, right? So they voluntarily came for some reason. Listen to them long enough to find out what that is, and you'd be surprised. One of the best ways to be memorable is to listen to somebody actively and engage with what they had to say.
And also to ask them questions like, why do you like working there?
Yeah. Exactly.
You
Like,
know?
let them
Why
be
did
the
you-
ambassador.
Yeah.
Yeah, under benefits.
Mhm.
Yep.
What keeps you at your desk?
Right.
Yeah.
And and asking it in a way that it gets into what that person values
Correct.
more than it being an extended version of, so what's in this for me?
Correct. You don't
No,
want to
no,
say,
no, no.
why should I work there?
Yeah.
But you do want to say, what brought you, if you had a million opportunities, why did you choose this one,
Cool.
I have
Yeah.
one more thing to add.
Do it.
Okay, so you brought up, it's 10 years later, would I have my job now? And you said based specifically on my GPA. So we're talking to people that in 10 years could be the hiring authority.
Mm-hmm.
We can start changing that. Now, don't get me wrong. A GPA can be a measurement, not the measurement. And you can put a lower bounds. Obviously, people that went to school and didn't take it seriously may not take the position you're offering seriously. But you can put an upper bounds on that too.
No.
Can you hear me? Uh-oh. We lost the video. Technical difficulties. Hang with us, please. Might have to restart the call.
there's a face.
All right, there we go.
Justin, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, dude, we lost internet. I probably just interrupted a really beautiful rant, didn't I?
Yeah. Oh, come on. Seriously? You're going to have to give it a second. I have to go to studio mode. I have to change the Hangout properties.
Keep griping. I can't tell if you're still there or not.
Okay, I know I'm here. I just have to. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, I got it back. And take it off studio mode and go back. Okay, we're back. Everybody, nothing happened? We're good?
As far as I know, are you still recording?
I am still recording, so you'll have to just.
Were you still connected when?
Yeah, that was all you guys. I'm looking. I have 0 dropped frames. I've been streaming for 47 minutes. I've been recording for 25.
Goodness, I wonder what happened there. Oh well.
So
you
anyway,
were saying?
all I was saying was that we can start to change the culture to where GPA seems to be the first on the list of criteria. It's still a good measurement. It's still a good measurement. in a world where there's hundreds of applications, nobody has the real time to literally go through all of those. But doesn't mean that you should set a GPA of anybody above 3.5 and that's it. And then I whittled it down to 3 applications. Cool. I'm like, no. You can set a lower bounds, but you can also set an upper bounds, because sometimes, and I'm going to say it, and if you give me flack, sometimes the 4.0 student may not be the best fit for the company. They might not be the easiest to work with. They might not be the easiest to take criticism, to deal with failure, to respond.
I have plenty of people I know 4.0 that are not personable enough for certain jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have a 4.0 does not mean you're the right fit.
So all I'm saying is that we can start that movement.
I think what you're talking about is the idea of figuring out how to evaluate the whole person,
not just the achievement score.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, just using more than one measurement of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome.
Let's dream. The Intentional Academy is the new version of how to measure people.
Or teaching a person how to mold their measurements so they fit. How do you make yourself fit into that mold?
Right.
You know?
All right. So we just did a bunch of recording, and it was really cool. Do we want to try and do some of these questions, or do you want to push it till next week?
I'll leave it to you guys.
How are you feeling?
Medium.
Justin?
Is there anything specifically related to the job search and or a career fair that we could hit?
There are a couple of job search questions, but they're more like follow-up questions that might be more appropriate next week anyhow.
Okay.
Check it out. Here's the high-level version of the 4 questions that I picked out. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
First one was, should you join student organizations like professional organizations? The next one was, is it wise to spend money on a grad certificate in the short term and then later go back and get the master's? And then the 2 that I thought were more job hunt oriented are, one was about a business trip, and if you're getting taken out for dinner, do you stay modest when you order, or do you order some fancy food? Like, what's it like when you're out at a professional dinner?
Protocol,
I have a good answer for that.
It was asked in a business trip setting, but if you're on an interview, this happens too. I got taken out for dinner on all my interviews. And then the other question was, imagine that you applied to 2 jobs, you got 2 interviews, they're a week apart. What happens if you get an offer from one before the other one gives you an interview or an offer? Like, how do you handle that whole timing issue?
I hate that.
But see, those are all kind of follow-up questions that it would be okay to just hit next week. I think we might be losing one of our members here.
Yeah, you know what? We could hit those pretty good. They kind of flow, and we could do the breakups, and we could have specific, so we can call this the career fair talk, and then we could spin the interview talk, and then we'll talk next week, and we can cut it up for questions.
Okay. Do you want to do like a round table of closing comments about career fairs and job hunts, and I'll wrap us up, or do you want me to just say a little wrap up and be done, or what?
Just right. I mean, what else would you like to say? Is there anything specifically you're looking for?
I mean, I can give a little motivational pep talk.
Go for it.
All right, so I'll close it out real quick, and then we can figure out how we kill streams and all that. I still think that the number one most important thing about hunting for jobs is realizing that it's a 2-way street. You're not just trying to convince them to hire you. You're trying to decide if the 2 of you are the best fit, because your best life happens when you're working in a place that wants you because only you fit, and it's a place that you want to be at because it's the only place that fits for you. Justin just shared about a real passion for a position that he picked. That's my life story too. When I found myself unexpectedly on the job market, my first approach was that I applied to 100 jobs that I didn't want, but I thought would be easy to get. And strangely enough, I didn't get a single phone call. I don't know if they could smell the desperation or if they could smell the fact that I didn't want it. but I knew then when I was applying that I was looking for a Band-Aid,
Mhm.
and thank goodness none of that panned out. And so I just want to say, in a world that is all about convincing you that you're not good enough, that there are at least three people here that think you are, and you are the best in the world at something for someone.
Mhm.
And your mission should be to find that and make that contribution, and all the rest of these pieces will fall into place.
Hmm.
So, from the bottom of our hearts, thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks for listening to our podcast. If you have questions, if there's any way we can support you, hit us up. We are here. And yeah, thanks again.
One more thing, one last thing. I didn't get a chance to add it when you were saying it. When you're having an interview, yes, there's a person that is looking to hire you. But in that same instance, you are interviewing them
Mhm.
because you are literally getting ready to sign up for a long term commitment, more than likely. And
Yep.
you want to ensure that it's the right fit for you. So ask questions, understand the complete setting. So,
Yep.
Love it. I'm going to cut that and move it farther up in the conversation.
sounds good. And the only other thing is, we're on a new medium. We're using Twitch.
Yep.
So if you do come to see us at Twitch, follow our channel. Give us a follow, give us a like, drop us a comment during the live stream. Let us know that you're here. What are your questions? We're ready to start, we're ready to start moving on this,
Let's do it.
getting serious.
Except we're smiling a lot, so I don't know. This is yours. This is yours.
Tony's got about to have a second baby to feed here, you guys.
Yeah. I was gonna say I hope to see you next week.
Are you kidding
We
me?
just don't know.
Babe, what better place to record a special episode of the podcast?
We support nursing.
Yeah.
Intentional birth 101.
Intentional.
You have to have a plan. You have
You
to stick
do.
to your plan.
How do we factor in managing your money on that one?
Don't have babies.
Nursing
Oh my
is
goodness.
free.
Wow.
All right. And on that note,
See you later, Twitch.
have a good
And,
night.
Instagram. Hey, thanks if you're here. Have a great night.